So we have a question here from Wubo. It says, what's the difference between this and the typical chiropractic treatment? And are you saying the normal one doesn't target these issues? It's kind of two different parts here. The first part is, of course, talking about what's the difference between this and typical chiropractic treatment. And by this is referring to upper cervical chiropractic. And the main difference is really just the areas of the body that we are specializing in and that we're focusing on. So when we're talking about upper cervical, or this as it's referred to, that's going to be working with just the top parts of the neck. Because the top parts of the neck, it's very close to control centers that we have within the top parts of the spinal cord, and these can have a bigger influence on certain aspects of the body. When I say control centers, this can start to influence things like breathing, heart rate. It can start to affect balance centers. It can start to affect cranial nerves. So especially things like balance centers and cranial nerves, if they're affected, it's more likely to cause things like dizziness, like vertigo, like migraines, like headaches. Again, this is not the only cause of these things. Of course, there's many other things that can cause dizziness, things that can cause headaches, but this can be one of the key elements which may be missing or may be affecting some people, especially if there's something happening in this top area. The way that differs from, say, more full spine or more typical chiropractic as referenced here is this was going to be working with the rest of the body. But the people that are doing this, to be honest, generally don't have as much training when it comes to working with that top part of the neck. And there can be cases as well, if we're doing things lower down in the spine, after doing something at the top part of the neck, it can somewhat contradict what's happening in that area. Generally, to be an upper cervical chiropractor, someone's going to go through more training to do more techniques for this particular area. That doesn't mean that other chiropractors, or what we call, like, again, the typical chiropractor, is not good. They can be really good for other parts of the body, can be particularly good in certain things which people may be coming in with, like low back issues, like leg issues, like mid back pain. That's something which generally it's probably going to be more effective in helping in these cases, and it can be good, of course, for general overall wellness, and especially say someone's an athlete, maybe they need more of a different approach to their body. But if someone has more upper cervical related issues, things which may be going on more in that top part of the neck, which may start to influence, like we mentioned, those balance centers, then this is something which may be more effective for those people. So it's not that one is better or not than the other, it's just one is fitted better for different cases. In the same way that, say, if you go to see, say, a medical doctor, you could have somebody who's specialized in neurology, you could have somebody who's specialized in cardiology. One is going to be very good for one part of the body, say with the brain, the other part is going to be very good for the heart. They're both very well trained, they're both very professional, but one is just going to be better for one part than the other. So really that's where this differentiation comes, and upper cervical is a bit, I guess, more rare within chiropractic, as there's not as many people who specialize within the profession. And the second part is then asking, say, if we don't target these issues. Well, I guess it's kind of covered in what I was talking about before, that if someone is, say, having something more general in chiropractic, if they're getting adjustments, partly in the neck, but really, say, also in the mid back, the low back, and they have something going on that's at the very top part that those techniques may not be as effective for, then if someone does have, say, something like migraines or facial pain or dizziness, it may not be as effective for those people. But again, in the same way that someone comes to see me and say they have knee pain, they have ankle pain, I'm looking at the top part of the spine, I'm probably not going to be very effective for them either. So for these particular issues, which would be mentioned in the other video, like dizziness, like migraines, this is where these kind of techniques would be more effective. If you have any questions, again, drop them further down in the comments. You can always try and make another video to explain things further.